The initial mode is player versus monster. You can change this by selecting the button over here in the bottom right corner to player versus player. For now, we're just going to be going over the player, so we'll swap back to this. For prayers, you set these the same way as you would in the main game by simply clicking on them. They follow by the same rules, so you don't have to worry about accidentally setting something that you can't do, such as piety and ultimate strength. For now, we're just going to have augury on though. Below, you can see your drain rate, which is divided into 3 sections: your prayer per tick, your prayer per second, and your prayer per minute. You can also select your magic spells by clicking on the icon over here. You can set any type of normal spell and any type of ancient spell. You can also set the other types of normal spells, such as bind, snare, teleblock, and whatnot. For now, we are going to select one of the god spells, Flames of Zamorak. You may also select a modifier spell. Currently, there is only one modifier spell in game, which is Charge. If you have these two things selected, you must also have a staff that can cast it. So the Zamorak staff and Zamorak cape would be required, of course, for this to work. If you're going to use magic, you also need to set your combat style correctly. So we need to change it from melee to magic. You may also set a stance, but this is only relevant for the trident. If you have a trident, you can use accurate or defensive, but otherwise you will have to select none. You can set your equipment by clicking on one of the equipment slots and typing the name of the item you wish to use. So I would type Zamorak, and I can either move my mouse there and click it, or I can press the down arrow and press enter. And now I have the Zamorak staff equipped. I can also do this for the Zamorak cape. Now, it would be a bit tedious to do this for every single item. So what I've done is I've made a way of getting the best or worst item of every slot. To do this, you would click on a specific equipment stat, such as magic attack, and you would choose either descending order or ascending order. Once you've done this, all you have to do is hold shift and click on every one of the slots, and it selects all the items for you. If you keep clicking shift, it will keep going down between all the next best items. If you press the middle mouse button, it will reset it. Also, right-clicking will go to the previous one. So from Arcane to Magebook, right-click will go back to Arcane. Now, obviously the Third Age Amulet isn't the best amulet for Mage. It just happens to be set here because it's the highest magic attack amulet. Now, you could click on this and then type in Occult and set it that way, or you can be lazy like me, select magic damage, and shift-click it. If you hover over an item, you can see the specific stats to the item on the right in yellow. If you are not hovering over any item, it will just show your total stats. To set your levels, you can either look up yourself like so, or you can manually set them one by one to whatever stats you wish. You can also set your currents, but only for HP and prayer, because these are the only ones where it is relevant, for Daraking and the Abyssal Bludgeon. And if you are lazy like me, you can click on the max cape and you have max stats. The boost queue. This is basically if you wish to use multiple potions in a sequence every X level drops. So I could use a Zamorak Brew, and then I could use a Super Combat, and I could change this number to 3 to use this queue every 3 level drops. So if I'm up to 120/118, let's use 118 as the example. Once I hit 115 for 1 tick, it goes and redoes my boost queue. This will only affect your average DPS and your minimum DPS. Your maximum DPS will be the same regardless of this number. For now, I'm going to remove these and select the Imbued Heart. Fight duration. This is relevant for very long fights where you are going to lose time by eating X amount of times or completely missing full attack cycles. Certain situations where you'll lose full attack cycles are walking away from Olm when it is on acid phase. That loses, I believe, at most 6 to 7 hits, so you would simply type in 7, you would type in the duration of the fight, so like 5 minutes and 30 seconds, or whatever you wish to set it to, and you can also set it to, say, you've eaten food 3 times. This will be 9 ticks that you've lost from eating. For now, we're not going to use this in the calculation though, so we are going to set these back to 0. Another thing that is currently hidden here is the ruby bolts. If you are to select ruby bolts, this will appear. Basically, this is the range in which you are going to use ruby bolts against the NPC. You can set the maximum HP you'll use the rubies at, and you can set the minimum. You can do this to find the best, or rather most optimal HP range to use rubies at before switching to something such as diamonds. Again, for now we're not going to be using these because we are using mage. Attributes. You can set your Kandarin Hard for your bolt special effects. You can set the Castle War brace effect. You can set whether or not you're on a Slayer task, and if you have used the Staff of the Dead special cannon, you can hit at most 8 times per rotation. So you can set how many times on average you feel you are hitting with your cannon. So you could set 2 hits per rotation. The most you can have is 8. We're going to leave this at 0. You may also set your type of cannonball between normal and granite, and the maximum hit is displayed over there as well. Player cache. If you wish to check multiple different setups, you have 10 different caches available. By default, anything you do will be done on cache 1. Simply click a different number to go to that cache and start editing. Your previous set will be there if you wish to return to it by clicking its respective button. What I just mentioned is temporary. If you close the program, these sets will be lost. If you wish to save certain datasets of either players or NPCs, you can click on the Save button, and you can type a name, such as Zamorak God, and then press Enter, and that will save your file. You may also wish to overwrite files. You can simply left-click on any of the files displayed, and you can overwrite them. It will prompt you with a warning, and if you accept it, you have overwritten that file. To load a file, you click the button next to the Save icon, the Load Dataset button. You can filter out file names being displayed so you can find your set quicker in case you have a large sum of setups. For now, I'm going to change back to the one I had just saved, the Zamorak God. And as you can see, I have everything back. If you wish, you may also edit and delete the files that you have by going into the list, hovering over an item, holding delete, left-clicking it, and it's gone. If you hold Control and left-click on a file, you may also rename it. You would simply type whatever you wish to, enter, and it's renamed, but I do not wish to rename this. So I will click away. Now we're going to move on to the NPC. You may look up NPCs by using the field given here. So if I would like to look up General Gardor, I would simply do that. It gives me an image, the name, and all the respective stats. If you wish to set custom stats, the option is also present with NPCs. Notice that NPCs have an extra stat referred to as General Attack. It's essentially a second attack bonus that's stacked onto whatever current style the NPC is using. This value is separate for good reason, though. The T-bow will base its attack off the NPC's magic attack alone, not its magic attack plus general attack. Keep in mind, the T-bow chooses either magic attack or magic level, depending on which one is higher, so this may not always be relevant. If you wish to see the general attack bonus stacked like it would be in the calculation, you can enable visualization mode here. but this is only a visual change. It will not have any effect in the calc. Again, you're able to set the NPC's attack style and the type. However, you are not able to set the stance because NPCs have a static stance. Certain NPCs also roll against a different style than they actually use, such as Bloodveld's rolling against magic defense. You can change what style an NPC rolls against here to account for this. The Affliction queue. The player also has this, but I hadn't gone over in that section as it's more relevant for NPCs. It only exists for players in case for some odd reason you wish to use it. You can set in order what afflictions will be used against this NPC, such as 3 Dragon Warhammers, 50 damage for BGS, and 2 Darklight specs. The current stats will reflect this, as you can see. Once set, you can click the icon to change the value. Say I want 2 Dragon Warhammers. I can simply do that. Or I can hold Control and click it to change the type of affliction. So I could change it to an Anchor and hit 10 damage. For items that require a hit over 1, the value reflects how many successful hits of that affliction are applied. So for Darklight, that is an example. You can see it's 2, so that is 2 successful hits. For items that drain based on their hit, the value reflects the total damage the affliction will use when applied, such as the BGS being 50 damage and the Anchor being 10 damage. The final affliction types are the general stats that you may drain. This is for spells such as Vulnerability that drain 10%. As you can see, it did nothing, but there is a reason for that. These afflictions drain a static percent from the player's current level, or NPC's current level, but will only work whilst the other entity being afflicted has over or equal to their base level and set stat. As such, if you use this when the entity is 98 out of 99, for example, it will do nothing. That's why you see here, this did nothing. But if I remove every other affliction, now that's the only affliction, it will actually do something. Because without it, it's over or equal to the base. So I could set that to 99, gets rid of 99% of the defense. Like players, you're also able to cache, load, and save them. Finally, at the bottom, you'll see the actual usage of this program. You'll be able to view the following statistics: accuracy, maximum hit, attack speed, damage per tick, your DPT, damage per second, your DPS, and DPA, your damage per attack. For your normal attack, your special attack, if applicable, and your cannon's attack. As mentioned previously in the video, if you have set a value for your reboost, you can also see the average of all these statistics, which is what is currently set, the minimum, and the maximum. Currently for NPCs, I've limited it to just show their accuracy against you, as their max hits generally aren't based off their stats, and in some cases are hard set. However, for players, you'll be able to see both the values between each other.